Hello everybody. Welcome back to the Mindcrack server. Maybe asking yourself, what's going on? What are we going to talk about? Well, you can probably guess what we're going to talk about. Nothing good. Oh, hold on. You guys can't even hear this. Aha! There you go. I got them game sounds. Why am I mining out this room at the roof of the world? In hell. Well, because we got our friend Mr. Frog over here. I mean, not the Mr. Frog, of course. That guy's crazy. But a frog. And we're gonna have another one. Eventually. So I'm working on getting the frog lights my way, legitimately. I also went and I found there was a crazy wither skeleton farm. I didn't even know you could have a wither skeleton farm with that efficiency. And I was there for like 5 minutes and I have a shit ton of wither skeleton skulls now. So that was another item off the list. I'm hoping after this episode where we get the frog lights, so not going to be a full hour episode here. That we can then, you know, fight the wither next time, but we'll see. So last episode, I think it was last episode, we talked politics and things have continued to get worse. I feel like I wasn't able to articulate myself nearly as well as I wanted to articulate myself. So let's talk about it. It was a hell of a Saturday. I had 2 UHCs, information overload, trying to herd a bunch of people to follow instructions and download this voice chat mod, and it all went well. It all ended up going well. People had fun. Also, all the villagers that were up here, I managed to trap. So the frog would not collide with them, because I walked the frog all the way there into the Basalt Delta, where hopefully some magma cubes will spawn, but 2 other people on the server. During the Mindcrack UHC, you have people saying, I'll play vanilla Minecraft again. Don't lie. I also think I got this item. That was new. Corrosion is still, or oxidization, as it were, still slow going out here. But do we really not have another lead? That is tremendously annoying. Okay, what can we remove from our inventory, people? So I gotta go back and I gotta get the green frog, you know? Gotta get him in on the action. This is gonna be another JW going, how does he do it? He talks Minecraft, and then he talks serious stuff at the same time. How can it be done easily? Shit ain't hard. I do need the string though. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be a longer boat trip than expected. Because I'm pretty sure that there should still be a lead and a frog where I want to be. So, guess we're on the journey again. But let's get serious, all right? It's so crazy how, you know, things just happen, and as humans, we just have to roll with the punches, you know? Like, I think how everyone just, you know, rolled with COVID. Some people that, you know, didn't roll with COVID, and some people who paid the price for not rolling with COVID. But, you know, and anyway, COVID's not one of those things everybody's, like, pretending never happens. So, you know. But, yeah, I will not soon forget. But that's not really relevant to today's conversation. Anyway, as you know, somebody, and let's talk about somebody for a bit here. Point out there's a strong history of many political assassins and shoot people with violent tendencies or, you know, disassociated men who often think that violence is the only way that they can get recognized as a man. And that's such a shame. You know, it's people who they're trying to find some way to enter the conversation, or they feel looked down upon. So what do they do as their, you know, awful last resort? Is they resort to violence, and that was the case again here. I mean, it's always, you know, the person that tried to assassinate Trump for whatever reason was a, you know, a 20-year-old, and as a veritable old now, I can say a kid. It's happened. When I was 20, I would have resisted all such implications. But yeah, guy was a kid. So that's sad that this guy did this horrible thing, killed someone, almost killed a lot more people. Luckily, he didn't kill a lot more people. Yeah. Anyway, leaving that alone. And, you know, thankfully, Trump not dead and only barely hurt, which seems like a small miracle. And I think it's a good reminder to everyone that people's words and their actions have consequences. So I want to be very clear about some things here. I am no fan of Donald Trump. I think he is, and presented himself as one of the biggest dangers to American democracy that we have seen. And he is hopefully one day, but I mean, you know, it doesn't seem likely, get held accountable for January 6th, where he incited a mob to storm the Capitol building to overturn. Well, you're officially, literally off the hook now, my friend, because I need this lead, and that's quicker than going to find slime balls somewhere. Okay, now where am I going? Minus 7,778. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he told a whole rally to fight like hell and told her to come to Capitol, will be wild. So he did everything he could to overthrow a free election. You know, publicly blasted his own vice president when his own supporters were literally erected a gallows in front of the Capitol. And then Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked and hit in the head with a hammer last year, and no condolences. He's joked about it, made fun of him for getting attacked, and all kinds of stuff. And you see other things, like it was like Tucker Carlson saying, oh, people are maybe going to try and assassinate Trump, guys, and all this. There's just all this rhetoric. And I watched Biden on Sunday here gave a very short Oval Office speech where he was like, everyone needs to remember that violence is unacceptable. And before that, because it's Fox News, they started saying, well, just a few days ago in Detroit, Biden called Trump a threat to America. True. And he did that because Trump is a threat to America. Like, what are we doing here? That much is clear, especially look into, Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation and all these things that they want to do to try and entrench our current system of governance, and how it unintentionally, biases towards the conservatives. And let's be honest with ourselves here. It's well past time for a change in the manner, shall I say, that these are awesome cliffs, by the way. The manner that we conduct our democracy. I think there's some talk about how we're like by far really awesome cliffs. Wow, this place is sick. Unfortunately, we need to go this way. No, we don't. We need to go this way. I'm very smart. How we're like by far the longest lasting democracy using the presidential system as opposed to like the parliamentary system, which really didn't like Britain had a parliament, but like the king was still modern parliamentary democracy happened after the American system here. Like, I think we can say like the whole with the House and how much gerrymandering there is, and the Senate and how imbalanced it is, and the Electoral College and how that. Look, I feel like there's better ways that we as a country can be representing people's vote. I think the one that works is Ireland, with its multi-member districts, where each district has like multiple representatives. I believe Ireland does this. And, they have a president who's kind of like the symbol, like the figurehead of the nation, but is not political. And then, you've got the parliament. They call it the Dáil in Ireland, the Dáil Éireann. I think it probably just means Dáil of Ireland, but, don't quote me. And I think that system would be much better in capturing the true preferences of the people. Although there's some things you have to consider, because it's not like we'd be abolishing states. I don't think anybody wants to, especially there's just too much pride and, frankly, history now. Like, I wouldn't want Colorado to be abolished. So, you kind of have to figure out that piece. So, I just think our current moment where we've created this, that's incentivized this two-party system, and it's incentivized radicalism. And that's the thing that's so frustrating. I think most people in America are, kind, chill people who hate all this shit and kind of feel trapped. And I don't blame them. Even though, I think that the Republicans pose such a significant threat now, unfortunately, I don't even think... Hold on, we went too far. We need to go a little this way. I have the coordinates down. These are definitely them. That pose just a massive threat to the country, and then, constantly attacking trans people, gay people, minorities, things like that. So... But this violence is scary, and it sucks to say that me and a lot of people, I don't think were surprised that something eventually happened. I was, look, the news got broken during a Good, during Good's UHC, which was a great UHC, as I said many times now. But the news got broken during said UHC, and I seriously felt sick to my stomach. It was fucking awful. The whole idea that, this is how, and the fact that a few people were like, actually rooting for this shit. Come with me if you want to live. Is pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting. And, there are people who always talk about, I hope the guillotines come back and we, kill all the rich people, or, shit like this. And it's just always like, are you listening to yourself? And I don't think most people seriously believe that. But, who are the two greatest civil rights heroes of all time? Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi. Because the two of them had the courage to stand up peacefully, and it was more powerful and ultimately more lasting than violence, because the violence is just always going to bring more violence of some sort. So I know a little bit about Irish history, and they had something called the Easter Rising, which was a violent uprising against the British, ultimately failed, but then paved the way for a successful one. But then after that, there was an Irish Civil War between, some people thought they didn't go far enough. This is what always happens. And so many people have just been casually using this language and not considering what's going to happen, and real people's lives are at stake. And some response to this by, some Republicans has been done, especially that, saying it was God's intercession. Yeah, I bet the guy's family in the crowd who got killed feels real great about that. So it fucking sucks. What the fuck are we doing? And again, only people who probably have severe mental health issues and all this shit are, again, it was only one guy. There's been millions and millions of people, And one dude, although you never know how much stuff the Secret Service foils or whatever, but one dude, and he came so close to an assassination here in 2024. I mean, and look, people, the president of Japan, maybe it was 2 years ago now, former president of Japan was assassinated, and a lot of people are like, well, this guy's family lost all this stuff because of this. His family got involved in this cult that the former Japanese president or prime minister, probably prime minister, had been involved partially with. So, like, it's understandable. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Like, what? Like, it's, not to be its current year, but do we not have enough examples of the entirety of the 20th century that we don't need to be doing this shit anymore? Look, the only way you're going to beat the evil ideas and the conservatives and the Heritage Foundation is you're going to have to change people's minds. Like, that's how you're gonna win. Like, there's going to be more people after Trump, okay, that are saying the same shit. I mean, we've been fighting against the same group or strain of intolerant people and hatred forever. I mean, we fought against them in the Civil War. We fought against the Nazis. We fought there. There's always going to be people. And you may be asking, well, those were both actual wars. Yeah, both those actual wars were started by the guys that I'm describing. And the wars were fought defensively because they fired first, which is the only form of just war and just violence, is if it is first perpetrated on you. So, I can only hope that Trump will have a come to Jesus moment. And I just want to go on a little rant here about I am so sick of it seems like heaps on people who claim that they're men of faith or women of faith or Christians and just don't act like they haven't even read a fucking chapter in the Bible. I mean, they're like, well, I'm Christian, so I have to, hate gay people, or, I have to, I say all these, hurtful race, but it's but I've got my deep faith, and that makes me a good person. Like, I can't think of anything that the real Jesus Christ would have hated more than people such as that acting the way that they claim to act. I mean, and this happens all the fucking time. All the time. Man, I mean, you see, like, that's why there's buttons in the tunnels so magma cubes and shit don't spawn. Somebody fucking spawn. They may be using the mob caps or something. It's just Sakana now. It's fine, Sakana. I don't know if they're gonna spawn here. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. It feels like for many people, they feel like if they can claim that they're faithful or something, it gives them a license to be awful. and how disgusting and embarrassing. I mean, you know, ugh, if people actually followed the example of Jesus, the one that's actually written in the Bible, the faith that actually is supposed to be practiced, which is of kindness and love, and I don't know. You remember Jesus flipping money changers' tables, and only a rich man can go through the eye of the like the camel goes through an eye of a needle. The rich man. I mean, it just feels like, that just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. It pisses how right-wing people can always claim that. Jon Stewart talked about this. He's like, red hats? Yeah, it might as well just be red coats. And damn if that wasn't the truth. Like, why do the conservatives, the only people that get to claim that they're constitutional when nothing of the sort? Ugh. The whole thing just sad. It just really depresses me because I feel that, again, most Americans are sick of this shit. People don't want this violence, and it doesn't make it good that it happened to somebody who's laughed at the violence inflicted on other people. No. Our responsibility as decent people is to be better. And, that's... it's just fundamentally so sad and disappointing and angering that we have a situation, thanks to our, flawed political system. And again, I don't know a way to enact the modernization that we need, because too many people benefit from the flaws in the system. I mean, I do think it should be a very high threshold to rewrite the Constitution, although it's cool that only San Marino, which is a country of 5 people, has had a constitution lasting longer than the U.S. After U.S. is going to be 250 here in 2026. Yes, let's go with yes. Yes, that's correct. 250 years, and it's worked out well, except for the one time in the 1800s, a bunch of people tried to leave because they were racist. But it's maybe time for a refresh. I'm not saying not like a overthrow, just like reforms. And I think ranked choice voting actually, I think, is a good way to accomplish a lot of these reforms in the best way possible. Because, here in Colorado, Lauren Boebert, who, it's funny, there's an article, it's like, here's all the responses from Colorado congressmen to Trump almost getting killed. And most of them were your same, me and my wife, my husband, are praying for, his health and recovery. And Lauren Boebert's statement was, all caps, my president. Really breaking new ground there. But she won her Republican primary with 40% of the vote, because there's a whole bunch of, dunderheads that she was running against who couldn't get out of their own way. So obviously 60% of people voted for not Lauren Boebert to, win the Republican primary. So if there was ranked choice voting, then all those people's votes could have been eventually pooled together to knock her out, because that's what they really wanted the most. I mean, that's why we moved to it's whatever the hell Pollbot uses, but it's a variant on ranked choice voting, because we had a minority that was 40% that was voting UHC a lot, and 60% of people didn't want to play UHC, but they couldn't agree on what they did want to play in the Turtles. So that's why we introduced the ranked choice voting. And sometimes things happen where nobody agrees, so then it's Quest for Everything wins, and it's nobody put that first, I don't think, but it was everybody's medium-ish option. So that's what I'm saying. So look, to recap, thank God. That could have been a hell of a lot worse. Apparently, the one confirmed death, he went out a hero protecting his family, so at least he was successful in saving their lives. I think we should make more efforts to include people on the margins in our communities and make it a lot harder to access firearms and a lot easier to access mental health care. So, young kids aren't doing evil things. Yeah, God, I call them 20-year-olds young kids now. What have I become? And political violence is never acceptable, even to people who have incited and laughed at other people being victims of political violence. And, the U.S., our system of governance, I think, has been showing a lot of wear and tear recently. Especially, let's just do a drive-by. Supreme Court lifetime appointments is ludicrous nonsense. Especially the fact that, certain presidents can, Trump, can get to install 3 Supreme Court justices in a 4-year term, because, that's when people happen to retire or die. Even though one person died when Obama was still president, and Congress managed to stall it out until Trump became president. But never mind. So, the whole thing, it was I think it was 18-year terms the Supreme Court would have it. And, you see some articles by people who are saying, well, listen, the Democrats have a moral responsibility to stack the court, because this is going to really hamper human rights and our ability to fight climate change. And you're not wrong, but the problem is, let's say Democrats do that, which I don't think they'd have the votes because of the way the Senate works. The Democrats stack the Supreme Court, then let's say, Trump becomes president again, and the Democrats are added 4 more Supreme Court justices. Then Trump's cool, how about the Supreme Court adds 60 more justices? And everybody just agrees with him, because the Republican Party agrees with him, because they're all scared and fearful of him and his reality TV skills that give him this huge base. So you have people like Marco Rubio who are begging and pleading to be the vice president or whatever, despite, everybody hating this, this man. Or, Tucker Carlson saying, I hate him passionately in private texts. But public, he's I'm Trump's strongest soldier. Give me a break. Give me a break. So it's tough. It's hard to tell people, and look, Biden's too old. He needs to drop out. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. And now this has thrown another monkey wrench to the whole thing. He's just too old. And the idea of him doing this 4 years from now seems almost impossible. But the idea of America experiencing the just insanity and racism and callousness of 4 years of the Trump presidency, and signing up for it again because they are, they just don't like that inflation happened, even though Biden and Trump have almost nothing to do with inflation, because presidents have a lot less economic power than you think they do, and people just willing to sign themselves up for just a worse 4 years where you might be enacting all these crazy draconian laws that people don't think will affect their lives until suddenly it's staring them in the face. Man. And it's a close fight. It's a close fight around the world. I mean, in the UK, Labour won big, but they didn't crack 40% of the vote. And if you had the Liberal Democrats in there, they'd probably get close to 50. But the crazy alt-right Reform UK, they like 25% of the vote, despite only getting 5 seats. And then in France, like, the leftists and centrists had to come together to stop the far right at the last second. So, man, I really, let's just make sure that magma cubes can spawn. I mean, I realistically got to end this episode. No, it's a short episode, but we've had some long episodes, and I might just do some AFKing on here to get the frog lights and report back. If it's not on camera, it's not on camera, Look, what's going to happen. A magma cube is going to spawn. He's going to eat it. He's going to shit out a frog light. I think my instinct was correct that let's just lower the height by 1. Because it seems that it tries to spawn a large magma cube, and if it can't spawn a large magma cube, says no. And I thought about that. We got bedrock on the ceiling, which is going to be preventing that. Ugh. Everybody should just settle down and play some Minecraft. That should fix all of man's ills. I have to believe that we will be okay, because I think the world has gotten better and better. And again, I think it's like the anxieties come for you when you're alone with your thoughts, right? All your worries. I think it's collectively happening to the developed world. We're not just constantly spending all of our days fighting to survive. Fucked another right, because why not? And we're feeling anxious, and the American dream of being able to catapult yourself to wealth and get land. There's no more land. So, blame the new people that are showing up chasing the same dream. Anyway, I feel like I was a lot more coherent in the last episode. I didn't fucking, pull a guard axe and drown or anything. I don't expect anybody to have, chime in with your thoughts. I hope next episode there'll be nothing to talk about politics-wise. There was some good soccer today. Spain versus England was a great game. Argentina versus Colombia was one of the games of all time. So it was still a fun game, but it was Chaos Ball, as this tends to be the want. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna end it here because I do have to go to bed. I just want to get all these thoughts out before the weekend was over, and I'm sitting here screaming into the void, and I gotta do some stuff, and I gotta go to bed. So we got 2 items. I don't even remember what the second item was. I think it was that copper thing in the interim. So we're up to 12:53. Let's see. Any non-rollable. Nishiren. Probably saying it wrong. Japanese Buddhist monk declares his intent to preach the Lotus Sutra and Namu Miho Renge Kyo as a true Buddhism, thus founding Nichiren Buddhism. Okay. Mongol forces under Kublai Khan conquers the Dali kingdom. The population migrates to Siam, modern Thailand. But he also introduces the Baisha Zhu song and dance suite to the music of the Yunnan. He liked music. In October, Pope Innocent IV returns to Rome after being deposed for 9 years by former Emperor Frederick II. He offers the crown of Sicily, which he controls to Richard of Cornwall and Charles Van Jew, both of whom refuse. Damn. No love for Sicily. No love for Sicily. Oh, and the Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi is completed. I've been. Early Gothic architecture, absolutely. All right. Well, everyone, sorry for the depressed fest as we sit here in this depressing room. I'm sure a magma cube will spawn eventually. It would be real good if one spawned like right now. Eventually. Anyway, there'll be more time for mindless Mindcrack, as we call it. Then I gotta fight a wither, and then I gotta, destroy a mountain for deep slate emeralds. So, yay! All right. On a positive note, it's summer. Thanks for watching.